Hello, friends. This is Raj Kumar Yadav, and you are watching Students of Life podcast. And today we have with us Jessica Gomez. She is a tutor, entrepreneur, and she has a passion for online teaching. She's going to share with us her journey as an entrepreneur and all the teaching skills that she has. Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, it's nice to officially meet you online here.
Same here, Jessica. I'm super excited, for this because this is the first time that we are doing a podcast with an international teacher. So I have gone through your Instagram post, and I was really impressed by all the development that you have gone through. Right from the starting of your post up till now, you have really improved a lot in your content and everything, and I was impressed and inspired by that. So, Jessica, can you just tell me something about your venture for other prices that you are running?
Yes, so For Other Prizes Consulting is my tutoring and editing business, and I edit people's book manuscripts, and I also do tutoring. I tutor students in the areas of reading, English, math up until pre-calculus, as well as the standardized exams in the United States. Those include the ACT, the SAT, the GRE, the
Mhm.
GED, and the ASVAB, and they are all those tests are taken for different reasons.
Wow. And many of the listeners, those who are not familiar with these tests and exams, can you just describe each one of them in few sentences, like ACT, SAT, all those exams?
Yes. So the ACT exam, actually, both the ACT and SAT exams are normally for students getting ready to go into college. And
Okay.
so for a lot of United States colleges, there's a requirement for either the ACT or the SAT, or some would take both. So they're
All right.
very similar exams. They're testing knowledge of reading comprehension,
Okay.
math, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's scientific skills, but sometimes you can see that in the form of graphs.
Okay.
So that is very common for both the ACT and SAT. And I believe just only the major difference about those exams is that the SAT emphasizes vocabulary a lot more than the ACT. And
Okay.
in the United States, a lot of states in the north part, they
Mhm.
use the SAT for
Mhm.
admitting students to college, whereas
Okay.
other regions of the United States often use ACT, or they could be using both as a
Okay.
way to admit students within the university.
All
So
right.
those are those two exams.
Okay.
The
Okay.
GRE,
Mhm.
that stands for Graduate Records Exam. That's normally
Okay.
for people who have completed college work. So they
Okay.
have completed at least a bachelor's level in their university, and they're ready to move on to anything higher level. So it could be master's program,
All right.
PhD program, and then
Okay.
there are other programs for other degrees. For instance, if
Mhm.
you're trying to become a lawyer, so some people they have to take
Yes.
exams. I'm
Mhm.
thinking, well, not necessarily, they're not taking that one for to be a lawyer. They're taking going
Okay.
to business school. Yeah, okay. So you can do anything in the humanities, and then you can
Okay.
also use the GRE to go into business school as
Okay.
well. And so pretty much again, like the ACT and SAT, they are testing reading comprehension skills.
Okay.
There is an emphasis on vocabulary, and
All right.
they're also testing writing skills
All
and
right.
the math skills on that exam. So
Okay.
assuming the person makes the fairly decent score, at least the average, they are competitive for getting into a graduate program in
All
the
right.
United States of America. For instance, for myself, I had to take it to get into speech language pathology master's program.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
my second master's. And then for my first master's, I had to take it at that time to get into my English master's program. And so,
Wow.
yes, I was accepted into both. Then I
That's great.
have the GED is for those individuals
Okay.
who have gone through school through their high
Mhm.
school years. So that's
Okay.
typically in your high school years, you're 14 to 18 or 17, 18 years old, but you
Okay.
have not completed high school. And a
All
lot
right.
of jobs in the United States require that you have at least something that shows that you are at the level of a high school graduate. So these are the people who have they'll take their GED if they have dropped out of high school, and they need to be able to show to future employers or schools that they have high school level education. So that's an
Right.
exam you can take in place of it. And then also we have the ASVAB is for individuals trying to take, they're trying to go into the military. Normally they're
All
finishing
right.
up high school, they're in high school, they're getting ready to graduate high school, they're looking
Okay.
to go into the military, or
All
actually
right.
you can be any age trying to go into the military, but either way, there's a requirement to take the ASVAB, and there's just testing of basic knowledge in science,
All right.
math, English, reading, things
Wow.
of that nature. And assuming you make the desired score, you
Right.
can be admitted into your branch of the United States
Right.
military.
Wow. And I have gone through certain videos, and I see that the you said that you just said that about United States military exams. I think those people have a very rough training, especially the Navy SEALs. They
Oh,
are
yes.
they really go undergo a rough training, and I was really impressed by their endurance and everything that I've seen.
Oh
Okay.
yes, like for me, I look at them and I say, wow, they do go through a lot, and I admire them. I personally could not see myself being
Yes.
in their shoes doing
Yes.
what they are doing. So I yes, I do admire them for their strength, their endurance, for sure.
Yes, and I think they are the real heroes. Every nation, their real heroes has to be those who are protecting, who are sacrificing their life and family. And
Yes, I agree.
and
I
it's
do agree with you on that.
it's wonderful to know all the exams and everything that you just informed about me, because I was completely unaware of them. And hopefully, all the listeners and all the audience who are watching this, they'll be benefited by this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Jessica, moving forward, like we have just talked about your four other prices consulting, like you had started this venture on your own, or somebody was there to motivate you to start this? How you got this idea to start and become an entrepreneur?
Yes, so first I started off on a platform called wiseant.com, and that is a place for tutors to go. I know it is definitely based in the United States. I'm not sure
Right.
if they do allow tutoring outside the United States. I'm not
Right.
100% sure, but I started there first in 2014 just to
Okay.
pick up some clients. And it's just set up where,
Okay.
you set your price, you get most of that income, but the company gets a portion of that income because you are
Yes.
using their platform
Platform.
to
Yes.
find
Yes.
students. And so
Correct.
I started there first, and then I was having a family conversation. It was my sister. She was saying something,
Mhm.
hey, maybe you need to think about starting your own business. So I did go on to start my own business for Other Prizes Consulting in 2016. And I'm very glad that I did decide to do that.
Great, great, great. So you are also doing a side-by-side job and also managing the your venture, both the things.
Yeah, so in 2014, I was working for a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nonprofit organization in the state of Alabama. It has since expanded to other states in the United States.
Okay.
So I believe when I first, yes, for sure, when I started for the Prices Consulting, I definitely was still working there and actually was on the verge of leaving that company and then going back to teaching. I've switched back and forth between teaching at the college level, teaching college freshmen English
Okay.
composition classes. So yeah,
Right.
it did start when I was at the nonprofit.
Good, good. Because it takes a lot of courage for someone to start their own business. And people are worried whether I'll get my
Mhm.
next paycheck or not, whether I'll get some income or not for my family so that I can run the monthly expenses. That is one of the biggest fears that people have.
Yes,
That's why we don't leave our jobs mostly. And anyone who
yes, you're
anyone who
exactly right.
anyone who leaves their job and starts a business, then all the family or certain society members also, they say that why did you leave such a safe job, and why you are having so much of you know tension, and you have to go through all the things, all the obstacles. You don't know when whether you'll make a profit or not. You don't know whether the cash will flow in or not. So all those doubts and obstacles are there. Shall I just tell you personally? I am also wanting to start my own business, like selling all the educational services and product. But let's see how it goes because I'm excited at the same time I'm nervous as well.
It's scary, huh? Yeah, it does kind of
Yes.
feel scary to get started, but
Yes.
fortunately, once you've gotten out there and gotten it, started, it feels a lot better after that.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully, I make through this. So, Jessica, now can you please tell me about your early life and to the present day, like your early school days, then your teachers, and how you got into teaching, what inspired you?
Okay, well, I actually had a lot of good teachers along the way from when I was a little girl all the way up to the point where I was 18 or 17 and graduating high school and then going on into my colleges that I went to. So I've always had a teacher to inspire me. Um, and my favorite subjects when I was in school were English and math, especially
Right.
by the time I was a teenager. I feel like at age 14, I learned that I was some type of English grammar prodigy or something. Like,
Wow.
grammar is so easy for me. It comes so easy to me. And I noticed that when I
Interesting.
was 14 years old and I would read these textbooks they would give us in school to do our assignments. And sometimes I would catch errors there in the textbook. And
Wow.
I was 14 years old. And so I did not always have that skill before then, but I would have to, say my mother played a huge part in that when I was a little girl, very little girl, and making sure that grammar was a very important part of my life and knowing how to speak the appropriate grammar, especially when I'm in the professional environment. So my mother played a huge part in that. For as far as I can remember, I was 7 years old and my mother was trying to make
Wow.
sure, yes, your grammar needs to be like this. And I think she impressed on it for me so much that by the time I was 14, I was like reading the textbooks and finding errors in the textbook. And I'm like, oh no, that's not correct. Misspellings, some grammar errors.
Yeah.
And then, so yes, and like I said before, I had also great teachers. And so going on into college, I believe by the time I finished with my first bachelor's degree in 2010, I had told myself then I definitely am interested in teaching because I've
Okay.
had such a great foundation laid for me from other teachers, and I too want to impact students, like they have. And that also included the one math teacher I do remember having. I had a great
This-
science teacher in high school, two
Yeah.
great science teachers in high school, but one of them who made me one time feel like I wanted to be a doctor. I did not become a doctor, but she made me feel like I could be one because she was
Wow.
amazing. And then I
Okay.
also had another amazing math teacher. And actually, I tutor math today. I do not have any degrees or certification in math, but because I had an excellent math teacher back when I was in high school, when I was a teenager, I'm
Wow.
inspired even today while running for the prizes. And I am in my 30s now. I do math tutoring even to this day because of that one teacher. So because of all the great foundation that was laid for me, those were the reasons that I became a teacher, just an educator.
Yes, yes. Same factors. I think same factors they resonate across all the teachers. We all have been through schooling and we have been through some great teachers. So because of those great teachers, we feel inspired so that we can also teach.
Yes.
And that love comes from within sometimes. When we get a concept clarity, our mind blows up. We feel like, wow, we have understood a concept perfectly. And since you said that
Yes.
your mother also played a very important role in teaching you the importance of grammar, and she was there with you. In fact, you are very lucky because very few students I have seen, very few students, they get the support of their parents in the way that you have got earlier in your life,
Mhm.
because many parents are,
Yes.
they are working parents. They also don't get much of the time, so because of that they are not able to devote time, though they want to devote time to their children, but they are helpless. In one case we can say that sometimes they are helpless.
Mhm.
So you are really
Mhm.
lucky. And some of my
Yes.
teachers, yeah, some of my teachers, from college and school, they inspired me a lot. I was a kind of child who would sit quietly at the corner of a class and won't say a single word. Even when I
Oh,
understand,
really?
don't understand, I'll not say a single word. So some of my teachers, they caught me up and they said that Rajkumar, you need to, cultivate yourself. You have to ask your doubt. This, that. I was extremely shy. I was extremely shy. So some of my
That
maths.
was the case with me as well. I was
Mhm.
shy as well in school. I was still a little quiet when I think I was 17 when I actually started really
Yeah.
starting to speak more. And
Okay.
even on my Instagram, you will find a video on there. I posted from when I was 18. I did a speech on this. I posted on Instagram about last week, and you could see in
Okay.
that video how shy I was. And I think it was like
Wow.
18, I really started to come out with not being as shy anymore.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Great. That is how we want. We want to, just improve ourselves so that the person or any friend who was there with us in school days, if they meet us, like if they meet you and if they meet me, they will see a drastic change. They will say, like some of your friends will say, Jessica, wow, you have improved so much. You have changed a lot in a positive way, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
exactly, exactly. I'm happy for that change.
Okay. So Jessica, now moving forward, like I've seen some of your posts, and you said that you were inspired to create some TikTok videos to help students online. So how did that come into your mind, and how do you make those videos interesting for your students? I see some of the background music that goes on, and you really enjoy that process. I have seen that on your face, and I really love that kind of attitude from a teacher. So I want to know what inspired you to make such kind of TikTok videos, and what was the main logic behind it?
Well, I actually started with music in general about 2016. Now, back then, TikTok was not, around then. And if I'm
Okay.
remembering correctly, someone said there was an app called Musically, which is what TikTok derived from. Where if that was
Yes,
around
yes.
2016, I knew nothing about it at that time. So I
Mhm.
was using YouTube at first to kind of do activities and exercises on there. So
All
when
right.
I did learn of TikTok, at first I was very scared about it because, like I said before, I am in my 30s. And then when you hear about it, most who are using it, they are teenagers, right? So I
Yes,
felt
yes.
very much like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be good at it because I'm
Okay.
old. To them, I am old, even though
Yes.
30 is not old. But
Obviously.
you know, but for them it could look old. And so one day I said, let me
Yeah.
just go ahead and do it because I already have background knowledge using music before with YouTube, and then YouTube is a lot more strict with if you upload music, they will take it down because it is
Yes.
copyright material. And so
Yes,
I said,
yes.
oh well, TikTok though, on the other hand, it has the music already there, and
Yes.
I can use that and just bring my materials to TikTok and then
Great.
teach from there. So that was a huge reason behind me deciding to just use TikTok. And I thought, let me do math, let me do reading comprehension, let me do
Wow.
vocabulary. And so I decided
Wow.
to add all of that. And that is basically how I have my TikToks. As you see them today, and I'm actually getting ready to upload some more to Instagram Reels this week.
Yes, yes. I really go through all the posts, and I try to see what have you written. Just beside the video, there are captions, and in those captions, you have written so much. So I like to see and I like to read also, because that is where the real idea is hidden. That knowledge is contained in those captions as well. So I try to go through each one of them. And
Yes.
what was the reaction of the students when they came to know that Jessica Gomez is now teaching on TikTok using their videos? So how was the students
Uh,
reacting to it?
Well, when I first showed it, at first, well, initially I was not certain how people would react. Now TikTok, because I don't have this as big of a following as I do on Instagram, is I did get some reactions, but it wasn't like this huge amount. But in comparison on Instagram, when I uploaded the videos there, people were very interested, and there were students interested. I knew I went out to advertise some things on Instagram, And oh my goodness, I feel like over 100 students like the post,
Wow,
because they like really like the content a lot. And I'm thinking to
great.
myself, oh, they really like it, like because not everyone who was already on my page. Not everyone who's already followers of my page are students. A lot of people are teachers. Like yourself,
Yes,
you're a teacher
yes, yes,
too.
yes.
So I did have teachers, educators, they liked the comment, they commented on it and said, oh, wow, this is great. And I wish I had this when I was in school. A lot of actually educators and grown ups said that. And then a lot of students just kind of liked it. And some here and there was like, oh, wow, this is cool. I like this. But for the most part, I did notice there were a lot of likes, specifically when I advertised the content. And oh, yeah, and a lot of people saved the content. One video really blew up. It was a mouse video I did with a popular song from a group called Blackpink, which I had never heard of. I just one day went through TikTok, listened to soundtracks, and said, oh, this sounds good. Let me throw it on there, see what happens, and did a
That's great.
mouth on there. I at first did not like the video really at all because TikTok will take your video, and if you put different clips in there, they will cut down the clips to fit within 20 seconds. So it was 30 seconds of clips. They cut
Yeah,
it down to 20
20
clips. I,
seconds.
I like that they did that, but when I put it out there, it was like today it's my video that has over 200 saves on there. It's been saved by 200 over 200 unique Instagram accounts, and you can see the
Great.
statistics in your insights on the business page. So I was like, oh wow, people
Wow.
love this video. It is my most saved video to this day.
Great, great, great. Because they might have they might not have come across such interesting ways, of teaching. The first video that I saw of yours was about maths. I think y equal to mx plus c. I think the slope of line kind of concept was used. I thought, what is it? And how? Because I was a little bit suspicious and skeptical at the first sight. Wow, when the background music is going on and maths concept is there, then why? Then I understood the psychology behind it, that if we like hearing the songs and we can see the concepts, then over a period of time we will actually memorize those concepts in our mind.
Mhm.
So that was
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what I was hoping to happen when people watched it.
great. Great, Jessica. So, Jessica, now we have seen that you have gave us a brief introduction about ACT, SAT, and GRE. So, how do you train your students in these exams? Like when they come across your profile, or they might select you as a teacher. So, how do you start the process of teaching them? Do you test them first of all on few criterias, and then you decide that okay, I need to teach these students from the basic because he doesn't know the basic, or I don't I need to teach the students from this advanced level? How do you go about framing a we can say lesson plan or teaching methodology? How do you do that?
Well, first off, I would definitely show them some of the questions. So
Okay.
when we were once meeting face to face, now with the coronavirus pandemic, we're not seeing each other face to face. But when I
Yes.
first saw them that way, I would bring my test booklet with me because I have a test booklet for the different exams. And
Okay.
I would say, let's go over some of these questions. And
All right.
so I would, from there, determine if they could, what their weaknesses were and what their strengths were. Now, if I'm going to do that at this point, now in the time of the pandemic and it's online, I will still pull up questions on the computer. I will share my
Wow.
screen. I say, let's go through some of these. And then from there, I can see weaknesses and strengths. And then we go from there. I typically try to help the students more so with the weaknesses while gradually, brushing up or improving on the strengths.
Great, great. I think I also use the same kind of method because today only, like today, I was teaching one of my student algebraic expressions, addition and subtraction of algebraic expressions, and
Mm-hmm.
one more lesson was there, powers and indices, exponents, powers and indices. So that he was a good, brilliant student, but I thought, let me first test what is his foundation. So I gave him some simple sums, and then he told me, "Sir, I know this. Sir, I know that." Okay, I said, "Okay, all right. Since you are saying that you know it, let me give you one question. I straight away, I don't take it for granted. If the student said, I know it, all right, let me test you now. So I'll just give one question and I'll say, now what to do? Tell me. Now, based on that response, we come to know, okay, now what is your level of, I don't tell that this is your level, but I tell them that we can move forward. I just want to give them hope because I was terrible at maths. Trust me, I was failing in each and every test in school
Oh, wow.
for math subject, but I was good in English, social science, science, and all that. So with every report card, there was a red line just beside my maths marks, which meant that you are just failing. So
Oh, wow.
I used to cry, and my parents used to say, "Why you are not able to pass this?" I said, "Mom, I cannot do maths, this, that." But I realized that I never tried to understand maths. I never opened the books of maths, and I never tried to understand it. Just like we have to understand a person, we have to spend some time with that person. So same goes with maths, I think. If you don't spend time with those concepts, then those concepts won't get into our mind. So
Yes.
now I understand the students who are very weak in maths. I'm like their friend and philosopher and guide. So I really understand, okay, because since you are weak, I'm also there. Don't worry, I was just like you. So I enjoy that process. Now,
Yes, it's awesome. And yes, when I first started off as well, I also was weak at math as well. That's something I had to improve over time. And it wasn't until I was 14 and had that teacher I was telling you about that I actually became excellent. I went from being
wow,
a student who scored was average to at the end of the school year,
okay.
myself and a student who was a boy, we both came in receiving the highest math score for the whole class, for the whole
Wow.
school year. Yeah, so that
Wow.
was the transformation in one school year from one teacher.
Wow. So you must be very delighted on that day, right? It must have been a great day for you.
Yes, yes. It was amazing. The improvement. I love it.
Great, great. So Jessica, you are from Alabama, right? So
Yes, I am.
so can you just tell me about the current education system in Alabama? Like how is it going over there?
Okay, so there are different parts of Alabama, and just like any region, I would say in the world, there are areas that are you say rich, more wealthy, and
Yes,
there are
yes, yes,
areas
yes.
that are not so wealthy. So as you
Correct.
can expect, the areas that are pretty wealthy, their education is excellent. There's nothing missing, or it doesn't seem to be anything missing. The students make the highest grades, the highest marks. They
Wow.
go on to some of the best colleges, get the highest scholarship packages, to pay for their education. There's
Great.
really no issue. So if you're in that wealthy area, but
Right.
on the other hand, if you are not in the wealthy area, your school, it does not have nearly as many of the resources as the schools in the
Yeah.
wealthy areas. And so as a result, the students will not receive the very best,
Correct.
that is possible because it's not available to them. Now the teachers can give their very best, and yeah, and that will make a difference because actually the
Obviously.
school I went to, the high
Okay.
school I went to, from 14 years old to 17 years old, was one of those schools. It was one of the less, the schools with the fewer resources. And so it was expected that if you came from that school, you probably would not do a lot with your life, or you would not be successful. So it was very important if you came from a school like that, that at home you had a support system, in addition to the support system of the teachers at home. And as we discussed before, some people don't have that at home.
Yes.
They work all the time. My mother, she had to work too, but she always made a point to set aside time to work with me and my sister with
Wow.
whatever we needed to with. And that's how we excelled and did well in school. But some other students don't have that because their parents may be working a lot, and they may not
Correct.
also have the education necessary to be able to assist their students. So again, the high school I came from was even one of those lower resource schools, and it still is today. But you can have exceptions to that. Like for
Yes,
me,
yes.
I came out. Today I have 4 degrees. So again,
Yes.
people think if you come from that school, you will do nothing with your life. You will be a failure, and it is not really true.
Yes,
But
obviously.
yeah, that's pretty much how the education system is. It's depending on the area that you are located in the state.
Correct, correct. Jessica, I'm really impressed because the way you narrated that your school especially hadn't got so much of resources, and there are some people, there are what I call, there are some pessimistic people who say like that if you're from this area you will not be successful, if you're from this school you'll not be able to understand, or you'll not be able to get into college and all that. Those are the kind of people we should not listen to, and you have proved them wrong.
Yes,
Jessica. And you, since you were
yes,
from that school, now many students from that school will be seeing you like an inspiration, and they will be looking forward to
hmm,
it
yes,
because now they have a hope that okay, she was just one of us, and now she look where she is.
mhm,
So maybe we also
yes.
be optimistic about life.
Yes, yes, and that's why I'm very passionate about helping students from those very populations.
Yes.
Because for that very reason, I want them to see that yes, you too can come from this school and go out and do amazing things in your life. It doesn't have to be that you just come from a wealthy area
Correct.
to do great things in your life.
Correct, correct. And Jessica, I know the best thing is that certain things are very good for us because we
Mhm.
have, like, you have been into such schools, so you actually understand the kind of obstacles and the kind of problem those students would be facing. Like, if you are a
Mhm.
teacher,
Yes,
you came from that area, but if there is a teacher from other outside area and who is not actually aware about these things, they will not be able to help the students the way you will be able to help, because you will be able to
Mhm.
understand not just whatever is seen, but you have also lived that kind of life. So
yes,
that is very
yes.
important. And here, even in India, the same thing goes. Same thing.
Mhm.
The rich areas, they have higher schools and they have better
Mhm.
teachers because they can afford better teachers by giving them better salaries. And the
Yes,
other schools who are not able to give better salaries, or who are not so rich areas, so those areas, they don't get perfect teachers or very strong teachers. So because of that and the lack of certain resources, the students, they are not able to perform well in one area, while the other students might be able to perform. But I'm really thankful that when students from such areas, from such low areas, when they rise up in the actual job market or the actual world, they are more stronger than the one who had been, pampered right
mhm.
from the child. Oh my God, oh
Yes.
my baby, don't do this, don't do that. So, students and sons and daughters from such families, they rise up like a warrior. They have to fight at each and every obstacle. So I think those are the best things that happen to us. And just like whatever we are thankful to our obstacles. Because of that only we became stronger, not just by reading books or novels. We have actually lived those lives, and I can see that you have also lived such kind of life. And personally, I started teaching right from 2003. I had to, because of my family conditions, and I had to take up the tuition. So
Yes.
so it is due to such conditions that we became stronger. When when students of my age were playing outside, they were playing cricket, so I was making money for my family. So I'm
Yes.
really proud of those moments and those areas. These are the best things that happen in our life, right,
I
Jessica?
agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
This was completely unplanned, but then, having a good connection with a person, I let them know what we are actually.
Yes. Yes.
So, Jessica, like, I have come to know from your Instagram post that you are building an app, and that app will help students learn vocabulary using
Mhm.
some background music and all that. So, what inspired you to create such an app which will help the students for vocabulary? I think that is related to your Kickstarter campaign also. Is it that?
Mhm. Yes, that is correct. Yes. So
Okay.
it is a vocabulary app that I'm building, and I want it to be a cappella. So that means without the music, and it'll just be singers singing. And so what I use right now with the TikTok, as you know, all that music, it has the copyrights attached to them. So that's
Right.
owned by someone else. So when I create the app, I do not want to take, all their copyright material and put it on there. And then, because at some point that's going to be for a price, the app will be. So I don't want to sell someone else's material and then get in trouble for that.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
say, just let's cut the
Okay.
music. Let me hire some singers who can sing,
Wow.
not necessarily their songs, but if you see my videos, I've done what's called lyric
Yes. Yes.
translations. And
Yes.
so
Literally.
just like those exams I was telling you
Yeah.
about earlier, those
Yeah.
exams I told you about early, like the
Yeah.
ACT, SAT, GRE,
Mhm.
what's commonly seen in those are these particular vocabulary words that maybe, well, most people on a normal day would not use those words, but they are
Obviously.
still included in exams. So,
Yes.
and like I said before, if you're a student who did not come from an area with a lot of resources, when you take those exams, you're not going to do well. One of the reasons
Right.
because your vocabulary is not as high because you did not have enough resources to learn them in the first place, like
Correct.
the ones from the rich areas.
Right.
So I'm thinking of that, and I say, oh, I really want to create something that involves music because music, pretty much everyone loves music. I don't know of anyone
Obviously.
who just, oh, I hate music,
I
it's
love
bad,
music.
So yes, I love music, and it helps us through times in our lives. Sometimes it's sad, it's happy. There's music that's kind of the feelings in between that. It
Yes.
reflects all types of our lives. And so I said, I definitely want to create an app that includes music because these students, even if they're from poor areas, they listen to it and they enjoy it anyway. And it's known that even over here, even if they're from poor areas, sometimes they can say song lyrics, and remember them perfectly with no issue because it's
Yes. Yes.
interesting to them. And
Yes.
so I'm
Yes.
thinking, why not take that and put it into the form of an app itself, replace the lyrics, specifically the chorus, and the
Yes.
chorus part, the part that repeats over and
Yes.
over
It
in
keeps
one
repeating.
song.
Yeah.
Um, Yes, I want to just translate those lyrics, and
Okay.
then I want to have people sing it, a cappella without music, and people that
Okay.
I will hire to sing it. And so that will be put onto the app. So that student can use the app as much as they would like to learn, whatever they need to learn. Over time, those vocabulary words that were used in those song lyric translations will stick. There are some I've done. I think back in early 2018, maybe was the first time I did the first ever song lyric translation. And would you believe that to this day, I still remember the lyrics that I translated, and I know exactly like that. If you ask me what the word meant that I put in the song lyric translation, I could tell you with no issue. And before, I had never even used some of those words. Like there's a word like pugnacious, which means quarrelsome. Never before
Yes.
I did the song lyric translation, before in 2018, did I ever use that word? Did I
Wow.
even know what it meant? But since I've put it into a translation today, I still know what that word means and I still sing
Wow.
it and I know what it means. Yeah, so I want
Mhm.
students when they get a hold of that app for that experience to be as powerful for them. And then they can take that into the school with them. They can take that when they take their standardized exams to get into college and to get into graduate school after they have finished college. And they can also just take it when, if they want to go out into the world as adults and communicate with others, if they want to be teachers, however they want to use that knowledge, I want them to have that power.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
There's a lot of vision behind this idea of yours. Lot of vision.
Yes.
You have, I think, brainstormed a lot on this idea, how it will
Mhm.
help and how it will be solving the problem of the student. And just
Mhm.
while I was, listening to you, I thought this can also be helpful for the Indian students as well because even they are preparing for GRE. Even they are
Mhm.
also preparing.
Yes.
Students they prepare for GRE here also. So such kind of ideas can be implemented here, and we like I can also like take help of some Bollywood songs or something like that, and we can put it like that. So I was also thinking like that because music is a universal language,
Mhm.
and it sticks
Mhm.
with our brain and emotions, and we easily remember because many students they also remember all the nursery rhymes like jingle bell, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and all that, still
Hmm.
we remember that. It goes into our subconscious mind. We don't have to repeat it again. No need to revise
Yes.
also again. That is fabulous, really.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, because I really appreciate such kind of thinking because it comes out of the box. These You are one of those teachers, who thinks out of the box, and you have also actually tried to help the student, not just for the sake, but then you have also thought about it. So really great. I'm
Yes.
inspired by that. I'm inspired by the app idea. So I really want to try it here on the Indian students as well. Let's see. I'll try to make some things, certain things, and certain songs and all that. Okay, so let's move forward now. Jessica, so what are like I have talked to you about your student life. So I was just going to ask what are the challenges that you faced, that not you faced but the students, the present day students, what are the challenges that they faced at the present time, before pandemic and after pandemic?
Mhm. So there was the in the United States they are always testing every year. They test these students in the fourth grade. So those students are normally 9 years old, and then they test the students in the eighth grade. Those students are normally 12 or 13 years old. They test them every year in the areas of reading and math. This year they did not do it because of the coronavirus pandemic. So
Yes,
next
yes.
year I believe they may resume. But
Okay.
so we'll get the scores at the end of every year. And what they showed last year in 2019 that Alabama, there are 52 regions a
Yes,
part of
yes.
the United States of America, and Alabama, which is where I live, came in last, the number 52 for math.
Yeah, I saw that on
So
your
that's
post.
one of the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the struggle areas for a lot of students is math. That's apparently the strongest struggle area for us. If we're doing the worst in the region, that's a huge struggle area. Also, reading, we were number 49. So number 49 out of 52. Um, in the last, yeah, that was from 2019 testing.
Okay.
So yes, as you yeah, just kind of imagine. So we're very, I mean, math, we're last. In reading, we're almost close to last. So that's the struggle that we're having here in Alabama with the students. Now, some of the ones I've tutored, and also in the school system, I work as a speech language pathologist, and that's just one who helps students with, their speaking skills, their understanding skills, the comprehension skills of language, things of that nature. And so I work in the school with that. So between working with students as a tutor and working in the school as a speech language pathologist, I do see the difficulties students are having with comprehending with what they're reading. I don't do math with the speech language pathology, but I do a lot with the reading. Several students have a comprehension issue, just reading something and understanding fully what's being said. Of course, there are some who are understanding just fine and there's no issue with them, but there are seem to be noticeably more students who are having an issue. And then when I tutor between math and reading, actually, interestingly, I have 2 degrees in English and 2 degrees in speech language pathology, but I
Wow.
am hired most in tutoring for math. Yes, because yes, students are struggling massively in that. And I don't mind being hired mostly for math. I mean, I love it. So it's fun for me because I had an excellent teacher in high school.
Okay.
But yes, so if that tells you anything right there, math is very problematic for a lot of students, and I have to sit and work with them to ensure better understanding.
Wow. So you had 2 degrees, especially for the languages, but since you had a great foundation in maths, you are teaching maths to your students. So
Yes.
I think the students would be learning a lot by sitting beside a teacher or having a face-to-face conversation with the teacher. Do they take any help of any online app, anything like that?
Well, I do recommend that they get on 2 different websites. One is called Math is Fun, or I think it also reads as Maths is Fun as
Yes,
well.
yes,
So
yes. Yeah.
mathisfun.com. That's a favorite of mine that I love to use
Even I
when I
love.
am tutoring.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
for you too?
Yes, same, same, same. And that and Khan
Okay.
Academy, both.
Yes, Khan Academy is a good recommendation as well. So I
Yeah.
recommend that to them. And also there's one called mathaids.com. So MATH dash AIDS.com. So that's another one as
Okay.
well. It that creates worksheets for you right on the spot. You press a button,
Wow.
create, and it creates it for you with the whatever the content on there that you need. So I
Wow.
use that also for my students doing tutoring sessions, and I encourage them to use it when they're not working with me. So just use those sites and practice.
Great, great. A lot of resources available, right, for us. I think such kind of app and websites, they make the life of a maths teacher easier, right?
Yes, I agree. I agree entirely.
Yeah. Okay. So you see, I have just put in all the questions right in my mobile so that I don't miss any question. All right. So
Oh, I understand.
yeah, next question is like, what are your classroom management strategies? Like when you're teaching in a classroom, how do you make sure that the is in discipline and you are able to teach nicely? There is no disturbance. How do you maintain that discipline in the class?
If there's a disruption that comes up, I a lot of times do like to stop for a moment and then, speak with that student, just kind of ask what is going on, see if I can get any insight from that, and then go from there. We can work out some type of resolution from that, and then hopefully, if that works, I can proceed. But that is my number one way is just pausing and speaking with that student, and also just reminding the student of, the appropriate behavior in that setting.
Yes. Uh, because that is the biggest obstacle any teacher has to face every
Yes.
time. Because certain like 30 or 35 minutes, normally we used to get 30 or 35 minutes, and at least 5 minutes was wasted in managing the class, making them sit
Mm-hmm.
quietly, and then we had to teach them. If the students are
Yes.
not in discipline or if they are not quiet, we are not able to teach perfectly to them. So I really like
Yes.
that strategy. I used to do one thing, like I used to make tell them that if you make noise and all that, any disturbance in the class, I will write your name in the list and just to terrify them, because they were quite elder, like in 8th standard or 9th standard. So I'll speak your name in the morning assembly and call you out to give a 1 minute speech. So they were all, oh my God, sir, no, 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 I'll not do that. Certain things,
That's a smart idea too. And also,
yeah,
similar like you said, you would have them do something. I will also tell them we're not going to do something that they want to do if they do not
yeah.
control the behavior and change the behaviors too, so we can proceed on with the lesson.
Yes, yes, because that is the first and foremost priority for a teacher. Otherwise, the principal
Hmm.
or any other management or any staff, they walks past our class and they will see, oh my God, why there is so much of noise? The students are out of control and
Yes,
all that, certain kind of thing. So we have to take such kind of steps sometimes
exactly.
so that we can manage the big bullies of the class.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So let's move forward now. And so Jessica, I have like I have seen your Instagram post and everything. Like we have been interacting. You also uh, informed me that how you brainstormed and you launched your app and you started your for other prices consulting. So how do you visualize yourself helping the teachers of across the globe? Like if you get a chance to help teachers from India or Australia or other, how will you go about helping the teachers all over the world?
I'm thinking actually starting in 2021 and starting in the United States, right? Because I have to start somewhere before I
Yes,
go
yes,
global,
yes.
international. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking of going and approaching the different schools and talking with their principals about doing workshops. And right now it would be online because I can't do, it go
Yes,
in
yes,
there and then it's not safe yet.
yes.
So do online and do workshops for the teachers that involves, for instance, you can use TikTok as a form of engaging the students more because like we
Correct,
discussed earlier, it music is a universal language. And
correct,
so
correct.
anyone can enjoy music and teaching students with music. And then you could even have, practice having the teachers um, gain from the students the types of music that they like. So maybe sometimes they can incorporate some of the music in the videos they create for the students. So when the students do their lesson, they hear the song, oh wow, I like that song, and then it's more fun for them. And then maybe they can also help with the scores for the students to improve. Or that's the hope, that it would help improve the scores for the students. So that's something I definitely want to start in the United States. And so, assuming that that goes well, in 2021, when I approach the schools, then I definitely want to expand that opportunity, that workshop opportunity, to be international.
Great, great, great. Because at least we have to start something from local and then we can go to global, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yes. Okay, Jessica. Now, Jessica, moving forward to another question, that is like, you have also posted about your hashtag masterclass from
Mhm.
for entrepreneurs and business owners. Can you share some points about it?
Yes, so I built this particular class for those business owners and entrepreneurs who are working to improve their ability to use hashtags, because if people, whether people believe it or not, hashtags do have the ability to take a post, just a single post that you make, and give it out to a lot more people than the
Yes,
number
yes.
of people who would see your post. And so, for
Right.
instance, on Instagram, that is the hashtag masterclass that is based specifically on uses of hashtags on
Wow.
Instagram, because that is where I'm strongest. So I did not. I don't recommend that for, for instance, Facebook or YouTube, because I don't have as much experience with those areas with hashtags. But I have
Okay.
learned from experience with Instagram, and so I've gotten results from that. One thing to remember about Instagram is that when you make a post, on the average, Instagram only shows it to 10% of your
Okay.
audience. So
Mhm.
right now I have approximately just over 5,000 followers. So it's expected that about 500 of people on my followers list will see the post. So as you can tell, that's not a lot of people. Like 500 is not close, to the
Yes.
amount of 5,000.
Yeah.
So hashtags can actually help to get it out to more people, be who are not on your list,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
so when I add those, for instance, I did a post last night. It was a quote I posted. I put hashtags with it that I noticed that I put on another post in the past, and it did very well.
Okay.
And as of this morning, right before I got on the interview with you, I checked my statistics, my insights on Instagram, and it showed that it reached, through hashtags by itself, reached over 1,000 accounts on Instagram of people who are not following me
Wow.
already. So
Wow.
that's the power of
Of
using
hashtags.
hashtags. Yes. And
Yes.
if people, what I also learned from that lesson is, if you pair those appropriate hashtags with content that will, the audience will read it or look at it and say, oh wow, it makes them feel good or feel a certain feeling, you're more than
Yes.
likely to get the hashtag number to be even higher and to reach even more accounts, and you're more likely to have people to save it and share it as well. So just having a
Wow.
great foundation in hashtags it can make a huge difference in someone's
Yes.
business. It can get your more people seeing your business, who you are, what you
Perfect.
offer. You
Yes.
have a better chance of more people following you,
Of
and
course.
then more
Yeah.
people also in the future potentially buying from you.
Yes, yes. And because, such kind of masterclass will definitely be helpful for all the business owners and teachers and any individual who wants to reach out to maximum audience, right?
Yes, yes,
So,
exactly.
I wish all the very best for this masterclass, and hopefully you have a lot of success with this one.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. I
Jessica.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's move forward to the next question. Because the reason why I'm able to do this in the between, because I know that this will be edited, so I can take a bit of time. If I want, I wonder if this was a live telecast, then I would have blown away.
it gets tricky. Yeah, like I do Instagram live videos. I'm trying to get myself more used to doing that. But every time
Yeah.
I even if I get on there because I don't do it a lot, I still get nervous, especially when people come up on they pop up on there. You see that they're watching it, and you just like start to panic a little bit, like, oh my goodness, you know.
Oh my God, really. So that nervousness is there in each and everyone, I think. So
Yes.
yeah, so let's move forward now. Now this question is all about a bit of Indian teachers. Can you tell me which platforms will be more suitable to the Indian teachers? Some teachers who want to teach maths or English or something like that. So which platform will be more suitable for the Indian teachers?
Well, there is now. Are you specifically talking about for the Indian teachers and for teaching for U.S. students? Is that correct there?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, I did some research and I found two different platforms I know for certain, but there may be more. One is
Yeah.
called Tutor Me, so TutorMe, and
Tutor
it
me.
allows for teachers to join internationally and to teach
Wow.
internationally for sure. And definitely that is one platform. And there's another one, it's based in Canada, but they let teachers from all over the world teach
Wow.
on here, and so it also brings on students from all over the world as well, so that includes the US, and it's
Okay.
called Schoolly, Skooli. So
Okay.
yeah, Tutor Me and Schoolly are two platforms for sure that Indian
All right.
teachers can get on to be able to teach students United States, and then even students beyond outside of that area as well. I think actually international teaching is an amazing idea because I mean, think about how you could say, oh, I tutored a student from Australia, America, Canada. It's
Yes.
interesting to know how many different ones you can work with these
Yeah.
platforms. Now, I did mention Wiseant earlier, and again, I'm not 100% certain yet if they are letting anyone outside of the country yet get on there. They may have changed it though. When I first got on there in 2014, it was just United States based, but they may have changed it. And I do
Okay.
know there's just some apps, some websites that are just based in a certain country, and then they only do their business in that
Okay.
country. Like I looked up, for instance, about apps for Indian teachers to get on to teach, and then there are actually some just based in India too.
Okay.
So then they like just teachers get on there in India, and then they teach students in India. So there are some like that as well out there.
Yes, yes, yes.
But
I
I did a
see.
Google search to find it, and yes,
Okay.
yes. So a Google search it showed me that. Also, I've seen before as well, Facebook, I know they opened up, some Facebook groups, and you can go ahead and set up your Facebook group as a class as well. So once, assuming you've gone ahead and recruited your students, and which you can recruit students, on Facebook, you recruit students on Instagram,
Okay.
you can redirect them to your Facebook group, and then you can have classes lined up. There's actually an option in the Facebook groups that you can set up a course inside there, if I'm not mistaken, and have it set up week to week with information for students to learn. So who knew Facebook, because Facebook is international as well as
Yes.
Instagram. So
Yes.
assuming you recruit your students from these platforms, you can get them on there as well. And then as you already know with the payment processes like PayPal, that's one of the
Yes.
universal payment processors. And
Yes.
so, I'm a person who's not close to even concepts or platforms that are not considered traditional. Like Facebook is
Okay.
not something we think of when we say, oh, it's a teaching platform, but you can make it be that, and
Yes.
it's fine. And yeah, and then I've heard some people say they use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is also an international app as well. To you not only call and text people, but also you can, if you wanted to hold a class with a person through WhatsApp as well. I don't see why you could not do that.
We can do that. We can actually do that. I was doing the same thing when it was pandemic situation. So whenever a student used to
Mm-hmm.
ask me a doubt, so in maths we cannot say anything like that. We had to just show on the board. So I used to switch on my camera, and with the help of WhatsApp video, I used to teach them like, okay, this is the sum. this is how you can do for 1 or 2 minutes. Then we used to record that video and send it to him or her.
Okay.
So that was fine.
Yes.
That was really good. And whatever you said, Jessica, it will be, I think, really be beneficial for all the teachers who are listening to this podcast and who are watching this on YouTube, and all the Indian teachers also will be benefited from this. So it's
Yes.
really great. Thank you so much for giving
You're
all
welcome.
the information. So Jessica, according to you, what are the most important skills teachers should learn or master as a teacher?
One of them definitely is, for sure, just learning how to adequately teach your subject matter. So whether you're teaching math, English, science, whatever it may be, I think first and foremost, teachers need to have a strong grasp on how to teach the information adequately and to students, and that includes being clear, and being and giving a full breakdown to students. I remember having a teacher when I went to college, because I was an English major in college. I did not really have to take any math class except for one. But
Okay.
I do remember being in that class in college. I was 18 years old, and the teacher, he was so intelligent, very intelligent. He knew it so well, but he would write on the board and he would skip like 1 to 2 steps, but I mean, because like he knew like
Yes,
what the
yes, yes.
answer was, no problem at all. And for
Mhm.
me, I understood too, because I told you when I was in high school, I had excellent math
Yes.
understanding. It was great. So I could normally fill in those gaps for myself. However, I had other classmates, students in my class who taken the class with me, and they would say, what is he talking about? Like, how did he go from here to
To this.
here? That does not make sense. So he would skip over, but I don't think he realized that it was not benefiting the students in the classroom who
Yes,
were
yes.
struggling. So you definitely
Exactly.
need to be able to adequately break down the
Correct.
information for students for sure.
Yes, yes. You actually pointed out the biggest thing that the teachers should focus on, actually.
Hmm.
And I think the foremost and the best thing that we can tell to teacher, that if you can teach nicely to the dumbest or the most slowest learner of the class, then the whole class will be able to learn easily. Just focus
Yes.
on that one or two child or one or two children, those who are very weak in maths or very weak in that subject. If they are able to say yes, I understood correctly, then you can take it for granted that the whole class has understood.
Yes, I
Yes.
agree. I agree. So that's definitely one huge one. And then also I would say patience, because like you
Yes.
just said, there's the students who they are the slower ones in the class. I mean, it does not help if, for instance, they say to you, "Oh, I'm not understanding," and it doesn't help if you come back and say, "Well, I've already gone over this already, and these
Yes,
other
yes, yes.
people in your class understand, but you don't. So shame on you." Or make them
Mm,
feel bad or embarrass them. You should be patient because every
yes.
student learns at a different pace. And
Different
so
pace.
when the student
Yes.
knows you are understanding of where they are, the status with where they are, and they see that you are willing to help them to overcome that and to get to the next level, they're more likely to come to you to ask more questions, whether it's,
Yes.
after class or before class, and they're more likely to be successful. You want your students to be successful. You don't want your students to feel like something's wrong with them or they're dumb and they cannot be
Yes,
successful.
yes, yes, yes. I really want them to feel, they can do it, and they should have a hope that okay, they will be able to learn it, whether it is very fast or slow, but they will be able to catch it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
yeah, Jessica, sometimes I feel that in some schools or some areas, teachers might be some, we can say, a bit of pressurized, or they will be driven by the fear of
Mhm.
completing the syllabus on time, and because of that fear
Mhm.
at the back of their mind, they might be able to just speed past that concept and all that. They want to teach it in a very fast manner so that they can
Mhm.
complete the concept. But I really feel
Yes.
for such kind of students, because they will not understand these things. So a teacher has to understand that I should take care of my students. Some students, they really need more time, and some students, they can do it
Yes.
perfectly. So you know what I used to do, Jessica? I had just applied this strategy in my class. I used to make a group of two students. Like one student will be a bright student. One will be little weak. So the bright student will understand the concept when I'm teaching in the class, and that bright student will help the other student understand that concept side by side
Oh,
in a in in a
that's smart.
in a friendly way. So like I cannot say, hey guys, just open up your textbook and do like this, that. No, but those two like students, they can interact at the level of friends. They can say, you don't know this, okay, come on, do it like this. You have to do like this, that.
Hmm.
So those students will be able to interact with each other without any fear. Like some students, they are
Yes.
shy. They don't ask the teacher, even if they don't know. So I used to tell them, okay, now you have to sit here with him during my class. So the bright student will be able to understand the concept perfectly, and that bright student will have a team, a task to teach the other student whenever they get
Yes.
in their own way. I won't disturb them. I will just teach a concept and then they can do it on their own. Let them do.
Yes.
So that
I
was
think that's very smart.
my idea, because I had borrowed this. I think watched it from a YouTube video or somewhere. So I applied that concept, and my principal was also impressed. Okay, good. Yeah, you are doing great.
Yes.
That's it.
That's smart. I like it. I really like that idea.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. So, Jessica, now moving forward, now we have talked about all your professional and the student's life and all the teaching stuff. Now, let's talk about your daily routine, like what you do on a daily basis to upgrade yourself or to increase your productivity, to increase your mind power or patience level and all that.
Well, definitely something I do every day is just prayer. That's very important to me. When I do pray, I do feel empowered. I mean, it's just a great feeling, and it makes me feel like I can move forward my day and just take on whatever comes my way. So prayer is a very
Oh,
important portion of the day.
okay.
Something else that I like to do involves just taking in content from other entrepreneurs online because I am considering myself still a growing entrepreneur. I can't say yet like, oh, I made the big time yet. I'm still a growing entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm often taking in content. A lot of times it's going to be on Instagram, sometimes YouTube, sometimes it's Facebook, from other entrepreneurs teaching about various concepts that I'm still trying to become better at. And how, and like, especially anything talking about their journey from when they started off. And, say a lot of them will say, the ones that I follow, a lot of them will say, oh, yes, I started off, I had no money, or it was very little money. I got tired of, being broke, having no money. And so I had to make a change for myself. And then they will start talking about the steps they put into place and how that, made a change for them as of the present. Like today, they're doing amazing, right? But back then they were not. So I love taking in content like that. Because I consider myself on that journey of not having a lot, but then wanting to have more, so I can give back to the world and society in more ways. Because if you have like the more the finances you have, the more you can give back to the world because you have it to give.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
I want to be in that position. So I watch a lot of those individuals.
Okay.
Yeah, who teach about it and talk about it. I love doing that. And also just something else I like to do is just give myself time to relax because I mean it doesn't matter how hard, how badly we want something to occur for us, it will never occur for us if we do not allow ourselves time to relax and just to rest. Yeah, so
Correct.
that's also very important for me as well.
Okay. Any of your favorite books that you read?
I would say there's some there. I haven't been reading anything necessarily recently, but I can say some like it's amazing how you can remember books from your past when you were like young. It's like I said, now I'm in my
Yes.
30s, but I remember reading one from when I was 18 years old. Let's
Okay.
see. So I read one and I was 18 years old. It's called The Kite Runner. And I think it actually was set in Pakistan. It was really good. I believe the writer was Khalid Hosseini, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
We
yes,
had to
yes,
read it.
yes. Yes.
Do you remember that book?
Yeah,
Oh,
I have just read the cover and the name of that author.
oh, okay, yes, okay. So you at least know of it.
Yes.
But I remember I had to read it as in one of my college classes. I was 18, and if to this day, years later, over 10 years later, it's still memorable to me because it showed like a different background, a different time period, and whatnot. And like it was. I mean, it was so amazing, and probably perhaps, but most likely because I did grow up in the United States, I know what it is like being in the United States right now. So
Yes.
like that's my life. But to see something from outside the country like that and know, wow, this that's something that could happen and this is how it could impact someone's life from childhood to adulthood. It really made me it really moved me in a certain way that even to this day, years later, it still is impactful for me if I think on it. Yes, that's a really important one. And then there was one I had to read later on when I was in graduate school the first time, and
Okay.
it was written by Richard Wright, and it was called Native Son. And so, as is known from a lot of people in the United States, there's this I mean, there's a history in our country, way before there was like, more so racial inequality. There was a lot of racial inequality. And, like for
Yes.
instance, African Americans were not really considered equals at all. There's still some issues today in our country, but there is not as bad as it used to be. So there was a book, the setting back in that time when it was a huge problem. And so reading that, because for me, I didn't live in that time period, but it's interesting to read about the history and how it was impactful for individuals who are African American and living at that time. And this person just wrote a whole fictionalized tale, but he used the time period, the setting with it, and this whole notion that, like, if you were an African American at that time, you were not considered intelligent. But then the protagonist, the main character there does something that was very tricky, and it was just something you did not expect to happen, or that most of the people who were in the story who were, for instance, Caucasian, who were white in the story, they did not see an African American doing that, but the person did it anyway, and then they didn't find out to the end of the story. So it was just interesting about the mindsets and the beliefs that were brought out in that time, and understanding how it seemed in that time period.
Yes. Yes. And all the things that you said just now, I think we have gone through a lot of news in the past few months. Also,
Mm-hmm.
Indian people also came to know that what's going on in USA and what are the
Mm-hmm.
different challenges that you guys face over there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I had also read about certain articles in the past, and I was really moved by this thing that some class of people, they are not considered as a human being, or they are subhuman category, something like that. So I was
Mm-hmm.
moved by that. And you also might be aware of Rosa Park incident, right? So yeah, so we have read those things in the books and the articles, and then only we can come to know. But I was really inspired by one guy like Martin Luther King Jr. and
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad Ali. They also did
Mm-hmm.
a great job in order to uplift the lives of all the people who are considered a bit lower in intelligence and physical strength and all that. I especially love Martin Luther King Jr. and then Muhammad Ali. Their philosophies of life and all that, they are truly amazing.
Yes, I agree. And actually, I would say yes. The one other work, it's not necessarily a book. The letter from the Birmingham jail, written by Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah, that was one of my
Yeah.
favorite ones by Martin Luther King Jr. for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. So these are the people who inspire us to become great, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they are for sure.
Okay. So Jessica, now we have talked about the books and we learn a lot from the books. So now I want to ask you certain things like what are the new skills that you are trying to learn as of now and you are planning to learn in the next year, like in 2021?
Well, one thing, for this year is like that I'm proud of, and some people might laugh at it, but I said, well, I learned TikTok this year, you guys. I'm happy about that. It's TikTok. And people are
Okay.
like, TikTok, what do you mean TikTok? That's like the kids app. And I'm like, no, but
Oh,
it's taught me I've learned it to use it to work and impact students. So like for me,
okay.
that's a huge win. And going
Okay.
on to 2021, I want to further my knowledge in that app because there are actually apparently these other newer concepts that are coming to arise on that app and that I'm not yet familiar with. I've seen other people use it is used in their video and I find it very impressive. It's almost like you think of an illusion. We look at
Yes,
something, it looks one
yes.
way, but that's not the reality. So they made something on there now. It's a feature that's like that, and I'm
Hmm.
entranced when I'm watching the videos. I'm like, wow, let me watch that again because wow, that's amazing. But that's some of the technology they have recently added to the app, and I want to learn to use that because I'm thinking, oh wow, that could just give my videos even that much more of a pop to it, and much more of an interesting mood or
Yeah.
feel to it. So I definitely want to learn that.
Okay.
Also, I want to learn how to just reach out more to the um, I guess engage more and network more. That's something that's a skill I always feel like I can improve on. It's still a kind of a somewhat weaker area for me, but I definitely want to improve on that to the point where I'm reaching out even to people who are doing far, far, far better than me. So I'm just yes, and so I've had two people that I actually really respect start following me on Instagram within the last month or so. One of them, she is an African American millionaire in the United States.
Wow.
And she was one of the ones who I told you about earlier. Like they said, oh, I started here. I had like no money,
Yes, yes.
and there was a recession in 2008. She
Okay.
lost everything. She had to move in with
Wow.
family. She had nothing. She built herself up since 2008.
Wow.
Now she's a millionaire today. And so I follow her a lot. And sometimes I repost her things in my stories. But one day, out of nowhere, she started following me on Instagram. And I was like, oh my goodness, her. She
Wow.
followed me. I want to learn how to
Yeah.
communicate with individuals like that and just talk with them,
Uh-huh.
engage with them, and not come off as this person that's seems like a stalker or creepy. I want to seem appropriate. And so
Yeah.
yeah, and then another woman who recently started following me as well. She's actually probably about this close to becoming calling herself a millionaire really soon too. And so I just also have just been engaging on her posts and saying things here and there. But I want to be able to learn to talk to these people beyond social media and talk to them in a
Yes.
professional manner and just include them as a part of a network that we could rely on this network going forward in the future. That's a huge skill I really want to improve on in 2021.
Wow. That's really inspiring because, Jessica, the way you told about the power of network, that was the same thing. I was blown away. I was willing to talk to people. I wanted to get new ideas, but there are no people around me who can talk to us regarding those concepts and ideas and
Mm-hmm.
business and networking. So I thought, why not let me go online? Since I love talking to people, I love talking to
Mm-hmm.
people, making them friends and making them feel special, nice, everything, because that's how we want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
yeah, I understand that feeling, and I want to make good connections with people, not just for the monetary aspect or for the business aspect, but for
Yes.
the rest of the life, so that
Yes.
people
Yes.
can stand with us when millions are against us, in that kind of
Mm-hmm.
concept. So I thought of creating this podcast. Then I thought, should I do or not? Because I was really shy and I was never doing
Mm-hmm.
it earlier. So I thought, let me just do it. So that fear was gone and I
Yes.
started making it. I thought it will be a great, interesting experience for me to learn, because if I did not had the courage to talk to people, I would not be doing this podcast with you right now. So
Yes. I agree.
yeah, so apart from the business point of view or the all the other skills that may, just the connection of human beings from across the globe for different culture, different language, different country, that's an exciting thing. And I'm really thankful to this technology that has brought us all together,
Yes.
thanks to Zoom.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so thankful for Zoom. So many
Yeah.
advantages for Zoom.
Yes, because our ancestors back 50 or 60 years, our
Mhm.
ancestors would not be able to imagine that this is possible, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So I'm really moved by that thing. And I sometimes watch the speeches of Barack Obama, like the way he won
Hmm.
election and the way I don't know. See, when I'm speaking this point about Barack Obama, there might be some people who are supporting him and some people who don't support. So,
Hmm.
but personally, I really like the way he spoke to the audience and to all the people just before he won the election and after winning the election. So I loved his
Yes.
oratory skills and communication skills. So I was really following that advice and everything. In that, one of the speech experts, they said that there are some people who talk genuinely and they talk from the bottom of their heart, and that is what reaches
Yes.
out to the audience, because that is not crafted or designed by some uh, we can say strategist or advertising campaign, nothing. Like when people talk from the bottom of their heart, that's when the true nature comes up.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with you on that.
I don't know, I have spoken a lot, but really I hope you will be able to understand this kind of intentions, because
Yes.
yeah, he told that the best leaders are those who speak at the last, after listening to all the people in their group. They are the ones who speak last, and they speak very less.
Yes.
So I'm really moved by those kind of things. So even and you also made a good point that you watch videos and you learn from new entrepreneurs and everything. So I thought I should like back like 1 month back, like 1 month ago, I thought that I should not consume social media passively. I should watch YouTube videos and make notes of my own. Whichever topics I'm watching it, whichever YouTube channel I'm following it, I should follow religiously, and then I should make notes of whatever I'm learning. So it will be not a passive consumption of social media, but it will be active consumption. So I started making a notebook out of it. Every page will have that one title of the YouTube video, and then the content and the main points that I learned, some of the main phrases.
Yes.
So I think this is the kind of thing that we should do with social media. I think that YouTube or social media is not bad. it,
Right.
it actually depends on our attitude and how we approach things and how we handle those things. Just like a knife, a knife can be used in kitchen to chop down the vegetables and everything,
Hmm.
and then they can use it for criminal reasons. It depends on
Yes.
the person, not the technology is
Right.
fabulous, right?
I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah. So Jessica, now let's talk about your life. Like, how's the life been after marriage? You got married, and then how life has impacted or how life has changed.
Oh, yeah. So I'm married in December 2018 to my
Okay.
husband. He is a nurse, and I
Okay.
actually met him before he officially became a nurse. But is he in January will have been a nurse for like 4 years.
Okay.
It's definitely has been different. He's understood about my educational aspirations. He's been very supportive along the way. And
Wow.
I actually met him before I finished my second bachelor's degree in speech language pathology. So he was around when I finished that second bachelor's degree. And then when
Okay.
I finished the second master's degree in speech language pathology. So everything I've wanted to do, especially when it pertains to anything educational or something related to my business, he's always been really supportive of it. Um, it's been interesting sometimes talking to him about the business perspective. Sometimes he's not a believer, like you said earlier about being the entrepreneur, and then it's
Yeah.
scary at first because if you take that
Yes.
leap and if you leave your job, for instance, you don't have that stability. So he's a person who's more hesitant about taking that leap with entrepreneurship, but he's watched me different times. Even though I know I still do definitely have my job, he's also seen me during the summer when I did not have a school job because school jobs are only open during school.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
seen the struggle I've had also within the summers with my tutoring business because not as many people also in the summer are trying to tutor. So it's made him more skeptical in that sense. But what he's seeing me put into place over time, I feel like we're more of a unit. and the team regard to the support of what I'm trying to do and elevate. So overall, he's just very supportive. And even with the Kickstarter, he so far as of today, he still is my biggest donor on Kickstarter. And he said, I just really want you to know that I believe in you and that you have what
Wow.
it takes to get this done. Yes, he made the largest donation out of everyone on there so far. So I do appreciate that about him. Like I said, it's just a good overall good solid relationship. He's very intelligent, and I do love that about him. And we can have very intellectual conversations about what's happening in the world, what's happening in the United States of America, what can be done going forward in the future to make changes, and within the world, within our country. I mean, and within our own home. So he's a great partner just to have going forward with in life.
Wow. That's a lot, really, Jessica, because very few people get such kind of life partners, very few people.
Yes, yes, and we've had our, every couple like they have ups, they have the downs, but I would
Yes.
say overall in the end we had more of the positive than the negative.
Yes, yes. I'm really happy. Yeah,
Thank
Jessica,
you.
yeah, really happy to know that you have got a life partner who is so much supportive. Like he must be standing just beside you whenever any obstacle comes up, he'll be there, just like a Superman to protect you, right?
Yeah, he does the best he can. I know he can only do so much because as a nurse, he works 12 hours every
My
shift. He
God.
works 3 shifts, 12 hours back to back. And
Wow.
then also with the coronavirus pandemic, he's had to deal with the patients with the coronavirus. So then, on my end, I also have to be a very supportive wife when I know he's dealing. Sometimes he gets down about that, which is understandable because I don't know what it's like to be a nurse and working with
Yes.
someone directly with that virus and then
Yeah.
worrying, am I going to get this virus too and get sick or even
Yes.
worse? So I have to play my part as a wife to be very supportive to him. But at the end of the day, I would rather have him in my life for sure than not have him.
Right, right, right. Jessica, because it has been really a tough time for the world, and I really think that these are like the warriors. These are like the front warriors who have fought bravely. They have
Yes.
not cared about their lives, but they have treated the patients. They have stood there, and they have been the first one who were interacting with such kind of patients and everything. So
Yes.
did you feel scared in the beginning when he used to come back from the job? Then you like how you were managing, like sanitizers and all those things. Like he must be in the job at the hospital for the whole day. Then he
Mhm.
comes home, and then you might be feeling that okay, like right in the beginning, were you scared a
Yeah,
bit?
it was. I was nervous about it at first. The thing about my husband, and even this thing that was true before the virus even hit the United States, or that we knew that the virus was in the United States, he was always what you call the germaphobe. He was just
Yes.
always with the cleanup wipes, the Clorox cleanup wipes, wiping
Okay.
down the phone, wipe his phone, wipe the
Yes, yes, yes.
handles. He was doing that before. So when the
Okay.
virus hit, I wasn't really worried because he had a game plan in place. He had a plan in place, and he was like, okay, when I come in from work, he would actually work overnight. He would do his 12 hours overnight. He would come home about seven something, around 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and then he said, when I leave my job, he said, I guess he'll go change in the locker room or whatnot. He'll put his stuff, his scrubs in the like a garbage bag. He would tie it up. He would put it in the garage when he came home, and then so he would just come into the apartment with regular clothes on, and then like
Okay.
he would leave his shoes down. Like we have stairs, he would leave his shoes at the bottom of the stairs or in the garage. He would come
Yes.
up with no shoes on, and then he'd take a shower before he goes to bed. So he already had things in place. And so I wasn't worried about him bringing it home. I was really more so about him just getting sick with it. And that
Yes,
was what my
yes.
and actually in the beginning he actually was very scared. I don't think I had ever seen him so scared in my life before. He's typically like a tougher guy. And so like when I saw that in the beginning, it asked his wife, I'm very empathetic. I'm like, I want him to feel okay and feel safe. In the beginning, he did not feel that way. And then he had to work in it from maybe like every single shift from March to I want
Okay.
from middle of March to let's say so that's a long time every time to go in every shift, and you always have to put on the PPE every day and all
Yes,
that. So in the
yes.
very beginning for him, he was very scared about it and did not know what's going to happen, which made me nervous for him and scared for him. But fortunately, as time progressed, he got more accustomed to it and used to it, even though he still didn't like having to do it. But it made me more confident to know that he was not being exposed, that he was still healthy and well, and that he was still taking precautions regarding entering our home whenever he left the shift.
My God. You must have been, going through lot many steps. Just like chess, just like when we play chess, we have to think 3 or 4 steps ahead. In that way,
Yes,
thinking of all those things, that what precautions we should take. But it's really interesting that you understood him very well and you supported him during this time. Really
yes,
good.
yes.
Okay, Jessica. Now we have just two or three questions left. That's it. I'm really concerned. I have taken much of your time.
Oh, no, you're okay.
Okay, all right. So, Jessica, this question will be about the fresh college graduates who want to become a teacher, and I'll be asking your suggestions and advice for such kind of students. Okay, so the question comes up. You can have a drink and okay, yeah. So the question is, Jessica, what will be the ultimate advice or suggestion that you would like to give to the fresh college graduates who want to become a teacher?
Well, one thing I definitely would tell them is to do what we over here, they may call it the same over in India, but shadowing, going to follow other teachers in the
Okay.
classroom if you can. And, in this day and time, if they're doing online learning, then ask to be invited into the class on Zoom. However, they're doing their education for their students to watch to see how it's being done. How is the process being done of teaching students? We were first off preparing for teaching the students and then teaching the students and dealing with questions of the students, classroom management, all of those type things. Just get them in the habit of getting in contact with teachers to see if they can enter their classrooms to watch. And also, if they can just do some tutoring, get some referrals from some people for tutoring because I mean they are after all educators, and then have them just go out and tutor some kids. Get
Hello, Jessica.
hello, hello.
Yeah, Jessica, I'm really sorry. You know what happened just now? Uh,
What's that?
what happened actually? I have exhausted all the data balance that I had, and it just popped up right now here with a message. And but I was able to hear all the things that you said.
What's that? Okay, good, good. Okay, it should automatically save too. Like even if it comes off, it should save information too.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, because I
Okay. I think now I can see you.
Okay.
Yes, I have just got another mobile over here, and
Okay.
hopefully I can get a Wi-Fi connection after that. Yes, so I think it will be visible right now. Let us see. Okay, hold on just a second. So you are not able to see me, right?
I'm not able to see you. I can hear you though.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on just a second. Let me see what I can do here. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I'm just trying to see if I can add the connections and if I can get the things right. Okay. Really sorry, Jessica,
Oh,
because
that's okay.
we were, having such a great conversation, and then such kind of thing happen.
Oh yeah, it happens. I understand.
Check IP connection and everything. Okay. So Jessica, have you previously worked with any Indian teacher before?
Not in the past. Like I said, I'm still up and coming and networking and things like that. I feel like maybe in the next year I may work on some more collaborations
Yes.
going forward. It's something that I definitely am interested in doing in the future. I know also in 2019, for instance, I was definitely still very much involved in graduate school, and that was a very heavy program, but so I couldn't have given as much time to my business as I wanted to. So this 2020 was really the first year I could really just put a lot more effort into my business.
Okay. All right. Now things are back. Thank God. Jessica, the only thing that bothers me, me being a part of something, like if I'm wasting someone's time, that is what makes me, feel bad.
Oh no, oh don't worry about that. Like I said, I didn't have anything behind this. Like most like when I get off, I probably just rest some, and then probably another 3 hours or so, I'm getting ready to post my newest video. I mean, it's supposed to be TikTok, but this TikTok did not have the song, so I had to do it via Instagram Reels. So how I have to change up and make things work anyway. So I'm take a break after I get off with you, and then find me some hashtags and post it with my video that I'm going to post in a couple of hours. My new Reels video. I hope people like it when I put it out there. I put my best little creativity into that.
I really go through all the content, that you put, because you get
No,
good feedback from people. I think there was something which was written about you in the newspaper or an article in Times,
mm-hmm.
and that person
Yes,
was from New York. So she had written something good about you. So I don't
yes.
remember what it was, but I really liked that. She was
Oh,
appreciating.
thank you.
She was really appreciating your idea and everything.
Yes, the one in Times, that was like it was different ones I was published in, but the one in Time I talked to her about like how the the pandemic affected me and my husband. So in that case, it's
Yes.
like we had a lot of negative moment, but then we still had some positive in there too. And I found that through an email. There's emails you can sign up for to get information from press teams who are trying to interview people for different things. So it just so happened that one morning I saw her the email come out with her name on there. And I said, oh, yes, I'm interested. And then she contacted me back. So she didn't even have to choose me if she didn't want to. She could have chosen somebody else, but maybe I was the first one to respond to it. So then she did the interview. And then the next day it was published in Time. So I was
Yes.
like,
Yes.
okay, cool.
Yeah. So you must have really feel good, right?
Yes, yes. Like I said, it's not the most positive thing because it was about the pandemic and because it was hurtful to us. But I told my husband, I said I'll print that article off. I'll look at it. I said I use this from where I can grow. And so in the future, one day we can look back and say, okay, yes, you see, this is what it was before. Now look at it now.
Okay, great. Jessica, one more moment. Just
Okay.
come, come, come. देखो एक मिनट बेटा मिलता है आंटी से मिल ले एक बार जल्दी से कम कम अरे मिल ले एक बार it was about my daughter was just trying to peek in and she wanted to
Oh,
to
that's funny. That's funny. How old is your daughter?
she will turn 7 on this 5th of Jan.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very close around, just coming very close. Well, happy
Yes,
early birthday to her.
yes. So ma'am is telling you happy birthday, you know. Okay, all right. So Jessica, we are just approaching for the two last questions now. Now, since you are also running your own business, so I want to
Mhm.
know what are the basic requirements for a successful business?
For a successful business, well, you definitely have to get yourself set up with the appropriate government agencies. I'm not exactly sure how it is with India. I know in the United States, you have to get, your paperwork filed with your state, and then with the government in general, just for the state and then for the country, and then get your appropriate um, numbers that are associated with your business setup and whatnot. So you definitely got to have your paperwork in place for sure. And also you got to have your bank account in place. And further, just have a network in place, at least even if it's a small network. I already have set and ready to go some people that you want to reach out to regarding, your business practices and your offerings, and then also ask those people to share your information with other people because that's a
Right.
great way to build a business by getting referrals from other people.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I highly recommend that. Also, just trying to work to be to compromise with those that you're trying to work with. Like for instance, with my schedule and with the schedule of others that I tutor, we have to work between the two and learn to compromise on what would be a good time for us. Not all the time is it best to say no. This is the exact time, the only time I'm going to do it. If you can be a little more flexible. Now, if obviously you cannot be flexible, yes, stick to your time. So yeah, I said two different things there. I said on one hand, be flexible if you can. On the
Yes.
other hand, if you have a straight schedule, stick with
Okay.
that schedule too. So I had to be that way when I was in graduate school. I mean,
Okay.
I had to go to class during the day. So
Okay.
in the evening, I could not go and I mean, well, I could tutor in the evening, so I could not allow the people to book appointments with me during the day. And I had to be
Right.
very clear and upfront with them. These are the only times I'm available. And I'm sorry, I cannot offer any other times outside of that because my
Okay.
schedule of school, I have to go along with that schedule for school. So, be
Yes. Yes.
flexible if you can, but at the same time, be stern where you need to be. And
Great. Great.
then also be open to listening to feedback, whether it's from other people who are also in business, especially those who are doing what you're doing. Be
Okay.
willing to learn from them, watching content that they put out, taking advantage of their classes, and also just taking feedback. In addition, it can be from even students and parents of students that you tutor. So you
Okay.
can learn to improve your craft. because you want to be
Correct.
the one that people refer to all the time, or at least most times when they're looking for a tutor.
Correct. Correct. That's a lot of genuine advice that you gave, and I think
Mhm.
it will be helpful for all those who are trying to start their own business in teaching and everything.
Hmm.
Right.
Yes, yes, I agree. So if you do that, oh yeah, and also be patient. That's one of my biggest lessons there. We talked about it earlier. Not every student is going to get it, like that. Be
Yes.
patient with that student, and especially if you're a person working one on one with them, it's just the two of you. So yes, now yes, you do have time to be patient, and you don't have the pressures of your a school or something like that. It's just the two of you. Be patient with that child, with that student, and then try to learn more about where they're getting stuck, and then just work toward helping them to get to a point where they're not stuck anymore.
Yeah, Jessica, just give me a moment. Just a moment.
Okay.
Oh my God. It was all about that naughty daughter.
Oh, she still want to come in. Okay, well, they're young. They're still smart even when they're that young. I have one I help now, speech pathology during the daytime. I told last week we had classes up until December 22nd, so that was late.
Okay.
And it was one, she's 6 years old, and I read the story. I was like, oh, and here's Santa Claus and things. She asked me, it seemed like 10 questions. And, I'm like, oh my goodness, this little girl is very smart. She knows what she wants to know. Like, she's like, does
Yes.
Santa Claus have a mom? And things like that. I was like, I don't know, very smart. So children are very smart, even at that age, at 6, they're extremely smart.
Yes, it amazes me. How come these children are so smart? It's a time for us to learn how a human being, develops.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, and some are ahead of others, and that one student I was telling you about, she's actually a lot more ahead than the other 6 year olds I teach. So she's really smart.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. So now, Jessica, this is the last question and my favorite question coming up. What is the one liner that you wish people will tell about you?
Um, I mean, I help struggling students prepare for academic success, and standardized test is success just using music.
Okay. Great. Great. All right. So, Jessica, thank you so much for joining with us. It was pleasure talking to you, sharing all the knowledge and all the experiences that you gave. This is the one of the best podcasts that I had ever had.
Oh,
Okay.
also, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a joy to talk with you today, and I
Yeah,
look forward to seeing the final production.
of course. And Jessica, I'll be sending you this clip, whatever we have recorded. And based on that, if you think that certain things has to be removed, then you can just let me know after watching it, and then we will be editing those things. Okay.
Okay, okay, sounds good. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Have a great day
You're
ahead.
welcome. Have
Yeah.
a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.